Hello Wonderland, Kelly here. Out for a wander today and I am excited. I'm up near the Washington DC area. Starting out this morning at one of my favorite places, Huntley Meadows Park. Birding hotspot, one of the real birding hotspots in this whole region actually. So yeah, hoping for some good stuff. And then later, some stops, I'm gonna kind of hug the Potomac River this morning. So yeah, come along, it's gonna be a good one. I set out dark and early this morning. Sun is just coming up behind me there. It's still chilly out. It's getting towards late April. I think in a couple days it's going to be like 85 degrees for the high. Today's high though, it looks beautiful. It's about 65 later. It's about 40 right now, so kind of chilly. But I'm hearing lots of birds. The highlight here is a boardwalk, which I love, a wetlands boardwalk. And I've seen pictures of some good stuff here lately, so I'm hopeful. I'm excited. Let's get to it. It's been a while since I've been here. I like this place. The boardwalk here is that plastic wood, which is nice, but it's pretty slick this morning. Icy in places. Seeing some frost, so yeah, it got cool last night. So far, I see and hear some red-winged blackbirds, a bunch of photographers over there. Like I said, this is a hotspot. Oh, and there's some swallows flying over the water over there. That'll be good. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna head that way. For a start this morning, I've got the R5 Mark II and the 200 to 800 millimeter lens. And I've also brought the R7 and the 100 to 500. And I don't usually bring two sets like that. But I might do a little side-by-side. See what we can do there. Yeah, okay, heading into the action. Let's see what we can come up with. Well, sure enough, the R7 came in handy. There was, one of the reasons I wanted to come here was because I'd seen photos lately of a hooded merganser duck with ducklings. And I don't know if I'd seen hooded merganser ducklings before, so yeah, that was exciting. And they're here, but they were a little far off, so I swapped the 200 to 800 onto the R7 for a little more reach. I think that worked pretty well. They were on a log for a little while when we first got here, so that was kind of nice. And then they hit the water and worked their way through a bunch of aquatic vegetation, and that made them tricky to see or shoot. I don't know if I got any while they were in there, really. But yeah, exciting. Love to see new stuff. Now I'm in the woodsy part of the trail. Also nice. Fairly quiet today. I feel like maybe because it's been warmer lately, but this morning was fairly cool, so I wonder if that has dampened the activity a little bit. Lots of geese, lots of red-winged blackbirds. Haven't shot them too much. Some mallards. Nothing real out of the ordinary except for those mergansers, and the tree swallows are always nice to see flitting about. was trying to do some birds in flight and failing miserably with those. Sorry to say. They're just so fast and small. And they change directions so frequently. It's a difficult target. Okay, so we're doing this loop through the woods. Then I'll do the boardwalk again. I'd like to see if anything new has materialized. People often see amphibians, frogs and snakes around, but it might be too chilly for those too, so we'll see what happens. On my way out of Huntley Meadows. Not bad, not my best visit, not my worst. This was my main wildlife stop for today, I think. Maybe one more later. But my next few stops are some scenics, and hopefully some impressive ones. Let's see how that goes. Okay, echoey. I'm in a tunnel, and at my next stop, which is Columbia Island. I parked at the Columbia Island Marina. And this is the view that I'm heading towards right now. So I'm right across the Potomac River. That's what you're looking at. And that's the Jefferson Memorial across the way there. And Washington, D.C. You can see the Washington Monument, hopefully, through there. And this island is more or less a park. And there's a few different areas heading towards the Lyndon Baines Johnson. There's the Navy and Merchant Marine Memorial. That looks pretty cool. And then I want to hit the Lady Bird Johnson Park. And all of them look pretty right now. In fact, let me flip around again to show you what I'm seeing here. Got a weeping willow, which is very nice. Cherry tree over there. The memorial coming into view, hopefully. That's the Navy and Merchant Marine Memorial. And a bunch of tulips. Oh yeah, I think I can work with this. Things are in bloom because spring is springing, and that is lovely. Okay, gonna shoot a bit here, see what we come up with. That's pretty neat, but the real star of the show here right now is these tulips, which are nicely blooming. So I definitely want to frame something up with that. Let's see. I apologize if it's noisy. This is very close to the Reagan National Airport here in DC, and there's a lot of planes flying overhead, as you might imagine. So, let's flip around again here. Yeah, this is nice. So I can get these tulips in the foreground, statue in the back. We can work with that. All right, stay tuned. Tulips, I think, just a little bit past peak, but still quite pretty. It's not bad at all. All right, got a few there. Gonna continue up the way to the Lady Bird Johnson Park. It's about a half-mile walk on this trail to the Lady Bird Johnson Park, but man, is it beautiful today. Show you. Here's Washington, D.C. Over there is the Lincoln Memorial. And then, of course, the Washington Monument there. The Jefferson Memorial over there, we already kind of saw. Yeah. Okay, well, either I missed Lady Bird Johnson Park, or there's nothing to see there. Or maybe it's just past bloom. There are a lot of daffodil leaves, but no flowers, so call that a bust. So I didn't miss Lady Bird Johnson Park. It's where that Navy Memorial is. That's not where it shows on Google Maps. Silly Google Maps. Okay, so I didn't miss it. It was cool. I didn't need to walk all that way. At least it's a beautiful day. Right? And actually, since I'm here again at the Navy Memorial, I want to do something that I mean to do more of, and that's talk about what I'm looking for when I'm taking a photo, how I go about it. So I didn't get any from this side earlier, and I do kind of like this side, and over there in the distance again is the Jefferson Memorial. So I'm thinking I can find a composition where I get the tulips, I get the monument, or the memorial here, and the Jefferson Memorial over there. And I could even maybe get the Washington Monument over there. The crane is not great, but I could probably get rid of that in post. Okay, so let's see what we can do. In fact, I can block the crane, or most of it, with the memorial. So let's give that a try. Compositionally, I want the tulips at the bottom. I want to get all the way up to the top of the memorial, those seagulls. And I've got the Washington Monument right about at my 1/3 line, rule of thirds wise. Yeah, see how that comes out. All right, at my next stop, somewhere else that I've never been before, which kind of surprises me actually. Take a look. It is the United States Marine Corps Memorial, which is a big statue of the famous flag-raising photo in Iwo Jima. February 23rd, 1945, I happen to know that. Okay, let's take some shots. Pretty nifty. Also at this location is this, the Netherlands Carillon, which is a bell tower. I think it was erected in the 50s, but this time of year it also blooms with tulips. Lots of different colors, it looks like. So that should be interesting. Let's take a look. Our next stop, not too far away, Fort C.F. Smith Park, which is named after a Civil War fortification. Formed one of the perimeter fort defenses of Washington, D.C. during the Civil War. 1863 it was built. No evidence of the fort remaining apparently, but it's pretty nice. On a little trail, there's a historical house over there that we'll come around to. But this field and the woods over there are supposed to be pretty good for spring migrant birds, possibly. So, hoping for a mix here of scenery and wildlife. We shall see. It's not a real big park, so, and I've never been here. But we'll check it out. Not a bad little stroll here. There were some other side trails I could have gone down, but one of them was pretty steep and I didn't feel quite like that. Nothing too extraordinary in terms of the wildlife or anything, but saw some thrushes, probably hermit thrushes. I think I got some shots of them. A lot of robins. I usually don't bother shooting those. Yeah, all right. I'll add this one to the list. Not a bad place to stop if I'm in the area. Now, I'm gonna get lunch, finally. And then I'm gonna take it up a notch, I think, with my next stop. Stay tuned. These are the Great Falls of the Potomac. Not too far from Washington, D.C. Absolutely gorgeous. Very impressive. Nice day for it. We will find some good vantage points like this and get some shots. Yes. I'm sure I've been to Great Falls before on the channel, but it's been a while, and it's always nice. Yeah, kind of off the beaten path a little bit here. Not very often used trail, but I think we can find some different spots up here. Hopefully. Pretty buggy here, but I found a macro subject with some bugs. This flowering plant here is quite nice, and it has lots of bumblebees around it. And I see a little spider too, so try to get some shots here. Definitely never been to this spot. This is upstream from the main part of the falls, which drop down quite a bit over there. Here's a semi-drop, but up there it's just kind of little steps down. It's really neat. I've got the 24-105 with me right now instead of the 24-70, but I think I have the 15-35. I'm going to throw on a neutral density filter and see what I can do with some long exposures here. That'll be new. It's buggy here. Oh man, it's buggy here. They're not really biting bugs, but they're just these little gnats and no-see-ums that keep bouncing off to my face. I found some wildflowers here that might make some good macro subjects. So some more bluebells. This is the Virginia bluebell. There you go. Not our state flower, believe it or not. That's the flowering dogwood. I really like the bluebells though. Got some these yellow flowers, an aster of some sort, I'm not sure, on my flowers. And then these white ones over here on the rock are some nice white ones that I think I like. Let me see those. No. There we go. Yeah, okay. So, whew, see, bugs. All right, get a few shots of those. Here they are. This place is also busy today. It is a beautiful day though, so I guess that makes sense. But it's a weekday. I thought it wouldn't be so bad. Long exposure shots came out okay, I think. We'll see. The only lens on me that I can use my ND filter with is the 24-105. I left the 15-35 in the car. I have the 10-20, but it's got that big bulbous front element, so can't use ND filters on that one. I did the best I could. Okay, that was outlook number 1. I don't know if I shot it from the outlook itself, but anyway, heading to outlook number 2. Overlook number 2. Let's take a look. I should have gone upstairs. There we are. Not bad, to say the least. Right in front of me here is a black snake on the rocks, getting some sun. He was doing his up periscope. I think it's a black racer. They have kind of a distinctive up periscope maneuver. Now he's crawling along. You better be careful. If he slips, he'll go in the water. Sweet. Glad I got a reptile today. And there's a great blue heron down in the water. I've seen some vultures, cormorants. The snake is the most exciting. The third overlook was the worst one, but I think it's actually the best. Nice shots there. And there was a guy had a whitewater kayak. He was taking on the rapids there. Got some shots of him without him knowing. That's fun. I would love to try that sometime. Richmond has, I think, the only class 4 rapids within an urban environment in the United States. My kayak is not the right kind for that. It's a flat water kayak, but you can rent or go on an expedition with the whitewater. And they have rafting too. That would be fun. One of these days. That'd be a good 50th birthday present. Almost done here, I think, because the bugs are driving me to distraction. But I seem to recall there's one more spot up ahead with some bluebells. At least there were in previous years. I want to check that out. I think it's a shady spot, which would be good lighting for bluebells. And I'm hearing bird, squeaky toy bird, which means blue-gray gnatcatcher. I see a few. Let's see if I can shoot them in the face. Found the bluebells I was looking for with a bonus zebra, tiger, swallowtail, butterfly. Hopefully got some good shots of that. I was using the 100 to 500. I was too lazy to swap to the macro, and it probably wouldn't have let me get that close anyway. So 500 was good. All right, now I'm ready to depart this park. I think I'm going to stop at one more park before I head home. It's getting to be late afternoon. So, onward. All right, last stop of the day. Wakefield Park, which is basically just a city park, sports fields, playgrounds, stuff like that. But it's also got a nature trail and a creek, Aquatink Creek, that runs through it. And let me flip around here. This power line cut here is also apparently pretty good for butterflies, spring migrant birds, that sort of thing. It is late in the day. It's a little after 5. Sun is getting lower. Still a couple hours till sunset though, so we'll see if we can find anything here while the traffic on the highway dies down a bit, hopefully. Then I'll head home. Let's see. Actually, on the way in, I didn't get to shoot them because the camera was in the trunk, but saw some pigeons, but they were really interestingly colored pigeons. I'd have to keep the camera with me and try to shoot them on the way out if they're still there. Interesting. Not that pigeons are that interesting, but I hadn't seen pigeons that look like this before. Okay. Yeah, this is not bad. Flip. Getting a little more woodsy over here. And I'm hearing some birds up ahead. So, hopefully we'll get lucky. Nothing here is cooperating with me, bird-wise. But it's a pretty nice walk. And where does this little trail go? Not so much a trail as a worn trail to the creek. It's a nice little creek. For an urban park, this is nice. And I imagine at certain times of day and year, there's plenty going on. Some turtles hopped in the water there, made ripples. I did spook a pair of wood ducks earlier. I don't know where they went. Yeah, the creek is nice. Okay. Continue onward a little bit. All right. Finishing up the loop, coming back to the parking lot. Nothing else to report really, so I wouldn't call this park a dud. I'm sure, like I said, certain times there's probably a lot going on here. Right now is not one of those times. And I'm ready to go home. Had an early start. It's getting late. Got some driving ahead of me. Let's do that. Okay, I hope this was enjoyable. It didn't turn out quite as awesome as I hoped. But I think I got some pretty good shots. Hopefully you have seen some. We'll do it again sometime. And until then, be good to yourself. Take care of each other. Don't forget to be awesome. Get out and wander. Later.